Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, December 6th, 2024. This is GoldFish Report number 1124, and it's our Food for the Soul series. And joining me is psychic medium Mark Christopher Nelson to take your calls, take your questions, not calls, but questions, and regarding, anything pertaining to your life, he's also a medium, so it's any questions regarding loved ones, any messages from loved ones from who have passed on. We're also going to be doing some predictions and some on current events and things that maybe in our near future. So welcome back, Mark. Good to see you. Sorry about this delay today, but we saved it.
Oh, Louisa, you saved it. I just kind of sat there and went, look, I sure hope she isn't sweating, so she's got it going. So, hi everybody. I'm Mark Christopher Nelson, and I love doing the shows with Louisa. We've touched upon everything from religious to spiritual to current events and things that are supposedly not really happening but appear to be happening. So, it's kind of a fun, interesting place. It's a great place to hang out and talk and it's like think of it as meeting up with friends who have some interesting ideas about things. And so, like Louisa was saying, I can, if you have questions, say about what is up for you this coming year, you can go into the chat, leave a message. Louisa has to convey them to me because of the wonders of this new technology. I can't see your quotes or your comments in chat, but she can convey them. And also, too, if some of it makes sense, doesn't make sense, feel free to share. She'll
Mhm.
convey as much of that as she can.
Okay, that's great. And we were just talking about what's been going on with these drones. Well, we didn't really get into talking about it too much, but there's drones over New Jersey. I have seen them myself. And I'm going to screen share. Let me just start with this, Mark, if you don't mind.
Please do.
And you can kind of give me, your read on this too. Share, and then I've got to share computer sound. Okay. So this is what some people have been photographing. These are the actual drones. They kind of look like mini airplanes, but in terms of the lights and stuff, but apparently they come with sound, there's sound on it as well. And this is how you can distinguish between an airplane and a drone. Now, I know they're not the clearest pictures, but you can get the gist of it. That uh, that this is a drone and that's an airplane,
Yeah.
right? What do you see, Mark? I mean, these are.
Well, it feels like the scale is different. It's just it's there's a comparable aspect to it. But what I'm getting is it makes me think that the government is trying to be better prepared. They're preparing for something they think the populace may or may not do or may not like. And that was a cute little trick. So, my sense is they're watching us more closely. This isn't alien. This feels like our government trying to create tighter control over us. So if that they are bothering you, I mean, it almost doesn't matter. The government, and I feel it's the federal government, and that maybe there's the UN involved with this, but it feels like from a lot higher than local jurisdiction, we're being observed very closely, and to see how we react to these intrusions by the drones. So consider this unfolding. I would say if you want to tape it, film it, go ahead, but I wouldn't try. I don't know. I think interacting with the drones is probably a mistake. So don't do that. Don't do something that would cause them to come back or don't shoot at them. Don't do silly things like that. Okay? So government, and it feels like the government is looking at us more closely.
Wow. Okay. I mean, this is what I love about doing this report, you see, because my intel that I have on this lines up exactly with what Mark just said. And I'm going to go into that in just a minute. Because there's no way. First, I wanted to show this is my Twitter page, Goldfish Report Twitter page. And I just wanted to show, I'm sorry that I'm scrolling, but there's no way to get around that. Um, Here it is. Here's a news report on here.
A flying drone mystery raising alarms in New Jersey. There are clusters of large drones swarming the skies near the Bedminster Golf Club belonging to President-elect Trump. What is going on? Nate Foy with an update in our newsroom. Hi, Nate.
Hey, Dana. So one witness says it's like a parade. The drones just keep coming one after another, and you can hear them coming because they're so loud. Listen to the power of this drone last night. So residents in Morris County tell me this has been happening every single night with the exception of Thanksgiving over the past few weeks. One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times. Then they say the clock went back to normal after they drove off. Witnesses also talk about the size of these drones. Some say they can be as big as a small car. Despite the growing concern, though, Morris County officials insist, quote, there continues to be no known threat to public safety. But residents tell Fox they're becoming more worried. The FAA is continuing to temporarily restrict flights over Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster and the Picatinny Arsenal military base. But authorities in Morris County this morning say they have no new information to share as the mystery continues. Dana?
Okay, keep us posted. This is bizarre. We need to know more.
Okay, so the first thing that strikes me unusual is how could they possibly say that there's no need for concern if they say they don't even know what it is?
How do
Like
they know?
this is so lame. I mean,
Scripted. It's like, yeah. It's like, how do
exactly.
they know?
I
Who?
mean, if the government didn't want them there, they would not be there. So that's
Yeah.
how you know it's the government behind it. I'm sorry, I'm on Facebook. We have to be careful what we say here because they really watch us closely and carefully. This is the Schumann resonance lately, so it's kind of intense. Consciousness is raising and so forth. So this is interesting because um, you had to know that what are they testing and preparing us for? Well, that's a good question. And I may have an answer for that. Look, we are at war, really. We're in a proxy war with NATO against Russia right now in Ukraine. So, is it going to come here? Are there going to be UN troops on the ground? Some say there already are, and they came in through our southern border. So, I think people should be prepared that all of a sudden, I think our reality is going to flip. Things are going to change, and possibly. I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think this has to do with a potential draft or potential situation where they want to come? Uh, I don't know how the drones, if the drones, it seems like maybe they want to try to pull an alien invasion, a fake alien invasion. And, the reason why I say that is because it's what their salvage program is.
Well,
I've reported on this many times. Um, there is a plan here for this. Share. This is, so I can make this a little bit bigger so you can see it better. There we go. Let me get this a little bit larger. And then we're going to go to questions. So it tells you right here that you can see this is a holographic image. Um, and it uses this technology here. The ability to produce these effects over 23% of the continental US is an object of fire sign, and field tests in the Levant have proven successful. So fire sign scenario is that of an invading extraterrestrial force of nearly incomprehensible scale. Massive floating cities descending, God-sized walkers among the clouds. And we've already seen videos of that on YouTube and stuff. Terrifying weapons, wheels of fire, etc. This phenomena, when activated, will bring electoral and social systems to a halt. And in afflicted areas, will permit a narrative where POTUS is able to call a halt to the invasion and then hand over the torch to, well, in this case, keep the continuity of basic continuity of state by not transferring the power to Trump. You see what I'm saying? Saying,
yeah.
oh, well, we're dealing with this and, we've got it under control. And so we have to keep, we have a national emergency. So we have to keep this, whatever. It says here that the aftermath of fire sign will be the psychological subjugation of areas where uprisings are most likely to occur. The induced trauma of fire sign will provide ample cover to government and NGOs who will be providing aid, which is in the uh, realm of psychotropic medication, which will induce docility and counseling services, which will further ensure further domestication. So, this really is I, you know, I think people should just be careful about what's going on, what they think they're seeing. These obviously can be very real looking. They can have sound. Um, they can have dimension. I mean, the technology is so advanced today, you wouldn't even know. But let me so that was really good. That Mark, you really confirmed the obviously this information that I already had.
Well, yeah.
Um, yeah, so but for what to what end though? I mean, I'm speculating as to whether that's, the purpose, but let me go back into our live stream and see if anyone has questions here. So, hi everybody. Yeah, Doreen, nice to see you. Jenny, Gay, Valerie, nice to see you are all in you. Yeah, all in the back rooms. Okay, so Jenny would like to know, does her brother Charlie have any messages for her? So her name's Jenny uh Carrigan. Carrigan. I'm sorry.
Jenny, Charlie.
Jenny, yeah, her brother is Charlie. Any
Okay,
messages from
when I look at
Charlie?
Charlie, I feel like Charlie's asking, um, I don't know if there was alcohol. I'm seeing what I see is him pushing bottles of alcohol away. So if anyone is dealing with a drinking issue, I'm seeing him push alcohol away. So I don't know if that had something to do with his passing, but when I look at him, he's saying just stay away from alcohol. He also says too that your ability to be safe is okay. He's saying that um, it's like you're not being followed. I don't know if you have any fear or paranoia about that. You're not being followed. There's no one really tracking you. But he's saying it's like if you keep an eye on it isn't I feel like Jenny with the issue with drinking, but it's like if she's interacting with someone and they start to drink, do everything you can to defuse and manage the situation and back away and go somewhere where you don't have to deal with this person.
Okay, very good. Let me go back. I hope that was helpful. Does anyone else have a question?
Well, one thing I was going to
Mm-hmm.
say too about the what are they trying to protect against? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that I do feel like that we have sleeper cells here, that
Mm-hmm.
there are organizations that have infiltrated
Mm-hmm.
our country, that they are not going to take the idea of being forced out of the country easily or well. They're going to want to fight back. And I feel like that this is going to lead, again, I know I've said this before, I'm still seeing it, that there will be conflict because these other countries don't want to leave. I feel like it goes from being a police action to a military action. The United States takes control, but this is part of them watching us, seeing what's happening. Also, too, I feel like that the potential for I mean, I'm gonna say that again. I don't think the potential for missile attacks is great because I do think that most uh, the countries that we might go to war with are more interested in negotiating than potentially going into a hot nuclear war with the United States because what does it mean to win at that point?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mark. We also have another question. Gay Fisher wants to know, when is Trudeau stepping down?
I think
Who
that
knows? He
happened.
might be the governor. We might have to annex him to the
Yeah, the
51st
51st
state.
state.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that things are not going well for him. I feel like it's going to be first quarter of the year. I want to say I feel like he keeps fighting, but I feel like that there's a lot of people that are not happy with the direction of the Canadian government. It feels like a lot of Canadian people are feeling that this is kind of ridiculous. They're watching what's happening in the United States. I think that they're seeing Trudeau as the poster boy for some of the very liberal policies that have not been popular in Canada, in spite of what the media tells you, in spite of what Trudeau says. So I'm saying early next year, February.
Sorry, there we go. Interesting. Okay, it's nice to see everybody. We have 20 people in our chat at the moment. I do have a bigger clientele on Facebook, but I've also been banned, but I just figured out a way around it. So there we go. I
There you
didn't say
go.
that. Yeah, no, you gotta be persistent. Let's see. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you from New Zealand. We connected. This is great. See, I've had so many viewers here for so long. And actually, this is the only Facebook page I've had for Goldfish Report in terms of YouTube.
Oh, wow.
We were live streaming on YouTube, and then tonight for some reason we had technical problems and we were not able to get onto YouTube. Now that was my fourth channel on YouTube, but this has always been the only channel we've had on Facebook. So hopefully more people will come along. Karen, nice to see you. Do you have a question for Mark? Mark is Mark Christopher Nelson, psychic medium. He is doing amazing work tonight. So I know you just tuned in, but if you have a question, please put it in your ch in the chat there.
Mhm.
Um, Mark, it's been really amazing having you join me on Food for the Soul. I've really enjoyed this quite a bit, and you have provided so much insight into events and into personal events as well. I mean, I've had loved ones pass over, and you have brought messages forth for me, which were very comforting. And that really is why you do what you do. I mean, you didn't sign up for this, but you're doing it.
No, I mean it's like I didn't know I was going to be a psychic medium. I thought I was just going to keep writing, and then I had other people in spirit show up. One of the things I did want to talk about, you had mentioned some predictions. I got to tell you, we're getting close to the prediction season, and I do think that in 2025, early 2025, in line with when Trump takes office, and before that, I feel like there are going to be people starting like earlier. They almost want to take away some of the thunder from Trump, but you're going to hear a lot more reveals about things that have been kept from us. I feel like that there's a lot of information about some of the COVID. There's going to be issues about government. There's going to be issues about truth. It feels like that it's going to be open. It's going to be a great time to be a whistleblower because of all of the things that say we haven't been able to say on Facebook or
Mhm.
YouTube. There's going to be a lot more opening of this because it's becoming very apparent to the majority of people that some of these so-called media platforms are really just propaganda arms of a certain party as opposed to being fully open and exercise, wanting to promote free speech, which is, of course, a right in the United States.
Okay, I'm just letting people know if you're watching on the Goldfish Report page or the Lou Lee page, which is the personal page, you can type the question on either one. I'm just letting people know for Mark.
But one of the things that Louisa and I've been talking about, just so you guys know, before we get on the air, we say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this and that? One of the topics that's come up for us is like I've been looking at the lost gospels, the Gnostic
Mhm.
gospels, and all of that, and there are correlations between which books were taken or edited from the early Bible, not considered to be appropriate or in line with what the early Christians wanted, the early Christians in control wanted to say. At the time, Council of Nicaea, there was many groups, sects of Christians, and so I've been I mean, I've always just paid attention to what the Bible is, and now I'm seeing it's like okay, but there's books like the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. There's the Gospel of Judas Iscariot. And what's interesting is that these Gospels are being found today, but they, are being discovered that, oh, this was written in 180 AD, and that this was, clearly a good example of someone that wanted certain information kept within they wanted to be in part of the canonical um, Bible, and it wasn't. So why was that? Well, the church wanted to have certain principles supported in all of the different um, books that are included. By the way, I didn't know that like the Catholic Bible has, I think, more books than the Protestant Bible, and then there's other books. There's so the Bible is not one simple book that always shows up exactly the same. It isn't. Um, and one of the things that, I mean, I've always thought of myself as being Christian. I was raised in a Catholic church. I still say prayers, but I also think that um, I'm clearly, I'm saying and doing things that are different than what, many priests and other people, theologians would say that what I'm doing is wrong, even though
Mhm.
Mark 9:38 through 40 says, if you're not against us, you're for us.
Mhm.
And this was a reference to um, the apostles seeing another person driving out demons in the name of Christ. But he's not one of us. And he says, well, you can't, do this work in my name and be against me, more or
Yeah.
less. So
Uh,
what are you seeing before I keep going?
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Jenny just wanted to give you validation of what you had said was that Charlie was a heavy drinker and she tried very hard to get him to stop. And no, we're not talking about Charlie Ward. We're talking about Jenny's brother.
Oh, that's
So just,
interesting.
yeah, so there's just some confusion. I mean, some just to clarify that for people. Yeah. So I'm just waiting to see if anyone else has any questions. It was great. It's so great that everybody has, come and join us. So we often talk about spiritual issues as Mark's talking about, and it's still a spiritual issue, whether you're talking about religion or not, because it's always about learning and growing and the soul um, and that's uh, really what the books were edited. I mean, I think it was edited, the Bible, the books were edited and because there was no separation of church and state at that time. So they used religion as a form of control over the masses.
Mhm.
So this idea of separation of church and state is actually, I think, more modern, kind of more relatively new, um, because you can't really have a society without morality.
No,
So, but our codes and our federal codes in particular are taken literally almost from the Bible. So a lot of people don't know that. But when I used to do reports with Winston Trout, he would eliminate a lot of these a lot of information and that we didn't know. I mean, he Winston was very good at thinking outside the box. He really wasn't from here, I don't think, but I'm still in contact with Winston. He's doing fine, and it's good to it's always good to remember the kinds of things, solutions in commerce that he was trying to teach everybody. So, getting back to readings, does anybody else have any questions for Mark while we're here? And I was hoping that our YouTube followers are getting the message on my community page here because um, we weren't able to go live tonight, unfortunately. So I'm sure they're kind of wondering what happened. But it's all I can do is put the put the message in the
well,
chat.
one thing, can I talk a little bit just more about um,
Yes.
the things that I'm doing seem to fall much more in a line with the Gnostic Bible, and I don't want to. I hope people are finding it interesting, but like in broad strokes, and again, I am not an expert on this. Broad strokes, the Gnostic Bible seems to be very much against um, eh, depending on relying on the material world. In fact. In the book, Mary Magdalene's book seems to be really interesting. Again, I'm just putting my toes in the water. But what she basically said, which seemed to run in conflict with the established Bible, is that the idea is to escape the material world.
Mhm.
Now, who, according to the Bible, controls the material world? Satan. Satan tempted Jesus in the desert and said, I can give you anything you want. And he said no. And so going back to what Mary said, by the way, Mary was not accepted by the other apostles. She was the one female that was speaking up. But it was interesting. She talked about there are seven powers trying to hold us, keep us connected
Mhm.
to the physical world, the material world. And so, in a nutshell, they would be desire, wrath, like what was described as darkness, which is kind of in a way very fundamental, not being willing to see what is happening around us. And then that's even at another level, ignorance. And then there's jealousy, sloth, arrogance,
Yep.
and so when you put all of these things together, these feel like tools that Satan could use to cause you to be confused, cause you to be not willing to step up, make changes in your life. And it isn't even if you don't buy the idea that there really is someone like Satan. To me, it's about I see it in terms of like how do I want to develop at a soul level? Do I want to keep going up? Do I want to do more? Do I want to, leave this? I mean, we all have to take care of ourselves here. We have our family, we have the people we love, but the idea is to not make choices that, we're only going to reward us here. So, and the Gnostic Bible talks about become more personally developed. See that it's like I know that the Bible says that Jesus died for our sins. I get that. But the Gnostic Bible also says your personal development, your self-awareness, your self-knowledge can aid in your personal development. And I certainly go there. I feel like that if you're not taking some responsibility for how you think, how you interact, how you handle yourself, you're missing out on your spiritual soul
Mhm.
development.
Well, we do have more questions I wanted to move to.
Fire
Is that
away.
I read, but before we do that, I just wanted to comment on what Mark is talking about. And it was Jesus who said, be in this world and not of it.
Hmm.
It says, don't love this world so much that you can't, because if you love this world so much, you can't love God. And the problem is we have fallen away from God. Whatever denomination, however God is represented in your world, it's just that there's a higher being, a higher power that is really, we're all under judgment here, I mean, we're all here. And because God, gave us free will. He gave us free will to choose evil or to choose good. And, we're in end times. I mean, it's very clear we're following a biblical timeline here. And whether it's been written for us, whether it's a part of a playbook or not, it's what they're following. So that's where we are. And, I think that um, these events that are happening, even if they're orchestrated, they're still happening because it's up to us. It's up to us to figure that out. It's up to us to kind of make that choice to go into, as you were saying, desire, temptation, all these other things that can lead us away from even the teachings of Jesus, okay, right? How to be a human, how to get along with other humans, how to, and a lot of those books were removed, a lot of the books regarding our bodies and how we manifest and what our bodies are, in terms of uh, how to use them. They're our temple, right? So let's just go to some questions real quick.
Sure.
So Sarah wants to know if you were able to tell if her brother Bob was given a shot during hospitalized in surgery, specifically the
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
the the C-19 one. Yeah.
Hmm. Um,
This is for Sarah, and it's regarding her brother
I gotta
Bob.
tell you, I don't think so. I don't think he received that shot in surgery. I feel like that they would not have. I think that, oh, what I'm being told is that he had to say yes at a time it's where, do you want the shot? Otherwise, the surgery does not go forward. So it makes me think that they put him in a very difficult, if not impossible, position to refuse. giving him the offer you can't refuse, very mafia-like. So my sense is that it wasn't during the surgery, it was right before. It's like, if you want this is the only way you got to make it happen. And he was desperate and afraid, and they took the advantage of that completely and fully. Sorry, but that's how this looks. Bob says
Sarah,
that.
did he pass? I mean, you don't have to tell me. I'm just wondering if that's why you're asking, because if he's not here to if he wasn't able to tell you, but that's up to you. We also have a question from Jenny. She wants to know, actually, today is if you want to say, anniversary of her uh, former love's death. His name was Jerry, and I'm sorry, Jeremy. Jeremy.
Okay.
What do you have any messages from Jeremy for Jenny?
Um, he's pointing to Jenny's heart. I don't think it's an emotional issue. I think he's saying, be very conscious of heart health. He's saying that I do think of you. I'm seeing dogs running around. I don't know if the two of them had dogs together. I'm seeing dogs running around, but he's pointing to his heart, his chest. So for her. So to me, this says if you're feeling like your energy is down or low or isn't as you would like it to be, see a cardiologist. See if there's something that isn't causing a problem there. All right. And then again, I see dogs running around all around, happy. He says that was fun. That was I just feels like a happy time with him, with outdoors. But her heart health, sac around the heart, um, inflammation. It feels like that they're just whatever her age is, we're finding people of all ages running into problems with heart health.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. We also have Tony. Let's see, Tony is, yeah, I think that's Tony is with a Toni. So she wants to know if her dad had passed in 2013. She keeps seeing signs of him being around. Does he have any messages for her? So this is Tony Stauffer.
Um, when I look at um, her dad, it feels like that. I don't know if there's a small memorial next to her of him. I feels like that he's pointing to like I don't know if it just feels like that there's like a stone, an object that signifies him, that represents him. It feels like it's either very cl like right next to the house, right. It's almost like his name is engraved somewhere very close, very bright. It feels like that he's saying, I am around. I come to visit frequently, early, often. He says that there's stones that he follows up to the house to come see her. I see like, these, I don't know if they're flagstones, but it feels like a very different, distinct path that he follows with her into the house. And there's something like it could be small, like, um, size of a book or something, but it feels like it says his name, it says something about him, and he's conscious and aware of that, and he wants her to know that the little things that she does to remind herself of him um, make him very happy.
Oh, thank you for that, Mark. Yeah, I hope this is resonating with some of you. Uh, all of you, you can put your comments in the comment section. I don't know if there's a delay. It seems like there might be a little bit of a delay here. But if you have any more questions, and while you're there, could you all share this to a friend, share it to a page that you might be a member of, so we can spread this far and wide. We did we did start a little bit late tonight, but that's not much I can do about that. We had some technical issues. While we're here, though, and while everyone is here, I'm going to screen share Mark's website so you can all see where to find Mark. If you're interested in having a full reading, a complete reading, this is where you would go to find Mark. This is marknelsonmedium.com. And there's links up here. You can even, um, purchase a reading for a gift for someone who you think might really find some comfort in hearing from a loved one who's passed on to the other side. Um, and what's interesting is that I've just been hearing so many stories of people that had near-death experiences, and they've come back and they were given information
Mhm.
um, from the other side. So it's quite interesting because it's like, well, how does that happen, right? How does that happen? And whatever reason Mark was given this ability, he can do that as well, but he doesn't have to suffer an NDE to
Yeah.
have access to and it's just amazing. I mean, some people can do it. Uh, some people can do it intermittently,
Mhm.
um, and then some people just can't do it at all. So
It also comes to some people latent or as a latent skill or talent.
yeah.
Um, and it can be something, an event in your life that all of a sudden causes you to be conscious of, oh my gosh, I just lost someone, or I just had a significant issue, and now I need to, um, uh, I'm feeling that I'm getting messages and I need to honor them.
Mm. So I wanted to give you some feedback. Jenny said, "Thank you, Mark. I will keep that in mind." But also, he passed because he was injured by a knife in the heart. Trying to word that appropriately for Facebook. Thanks for that, because you know what will happen. We'll
Yes.
disappear again if we don't be
Well,
very
he's pointing
careful
to
how
his
we word
heart. Oh
things.
my gosh. So maybe, no,
That's
just
what it was. Yeah.
oh my gosh. All right. Well, I see things, and so when I see it, it doesn't always have a caption, so it's like, okay, if he's pointing, I'm very sorry for his loss in that way, but if he's pointing to his heart, which I
Mm.
said, that's one way of you knowing it was him, and that he says that I have great clarity now. I understand, some of the things that. He says what happened wasn't fair, wasn't right. But he says that um, I feel like that he may have inadvertently put himself in a position where this may have happened. So he's saying it wasn't my responsibility. I didn't do it, but I feel like that he was tracked or targeted is what it feels like.
Oh,
Oof.
Tony also said, yes, I do have a memorial for him in my apartment. Thank you. You're on it tonight, boy. Let me tell you, Mark, you are hitting, you know, home run one after the next here. And I'm not surprised. I mean, you're very gifted, and I'm going to screen share your website in just a second, but I wanted to give you some more feedback. Sarah says, yeah, Bob did pass in 2020, and all of his symptoms escalated following bladder surgery, abnormal blood clots, amputation, cancer,
Ah,
mass.
I'm sorry.
She said, thank you, Mark, for confirming what I suspected.
I feel like they put him in a spot. If you don't do it now, and that happened to my mother. My mother was going to have heart surgery, and they said, "Well, if you don't agree to have the shot, we're not going to do the surgery."
Yeah. And if you're basically laying on that table, and
Yeah,
people are I mean, that is horrible. They did that to me recently with a cat I had to put to sleep. Uh, and listen to this. I brought the cat in. The cat's laying there. We're crying, sobbing hysterically, and she's like, "Well, you can purchase this plot and you can do all these things." And she's trying to sell me. I mean,
yeah,
the freaking veterinarian is
yeah.
trying to sell me expensive packages for burial plots and all this other stuff, and I'm just like. No, no, I'm
Not
not going
now.
to
Why are
do
you
this.
doing this now? Yeah.
No, I'm
Why?
not
Because
doing
I'm.
putting you. I said I called in advance to discuss this with you. This isn't the time to do it. So,
No.
absolutely, this is unfortunate. But, I guess there's a little bit of justice in what happened yesterday in New York City. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and a lot of people speculate that's because that was to prevent him from testifying on the um, problems. But look, we have a society where this is absolute capitalism has gone um, to the point of it's inhumane. And if we don't have, if we don't rein that in, it's going to be our ending, and it's getting close to it. I mean, every aspect of our society's been infiltrated. Um, our food has been tampered with. Um, now, get ready for H1N1 because that's going to be coming around. What do you see about that, Mark?
Well, let me just go to say the one thing about that man that was shot in the streets of New York related to
Yeah,
United Healthcare,
yeah,
that they found bullet casings
yeah.
or on the bullets that had words delay, deny, other, you know,
Depose, which
depose.
means to remove from office.
So,
Yeah,
so that's pretty interesting. And that I also saw a report, and again, please validate for yourself. Please do some checking yourself. But United Healthcare supposedly has the highest denial rate of any major insurer.
hmm
Now, that's something I saw. I would encourage you to do your own research. And if that's the case, you may want to reconsider using them if this is true. If this is, I'm not, if it, I can't say that enough.
Right.
Get, please do your
Yeah.
own research because if you do become seriously ill, if you have a potentially mortal illness, that the cost of it could, if you think you're safe because you own a home and you have, good insurance, it could rob you of you may find that no, it isn't enough, and I can't leave anything to my kids, and I'm not extending my life. I'm gonna suffer. So be conscious of that. All right?
Yeah, the insurers know very well that we're worth more dead than alive because if you have health insurance, right, then that would at least pay out to your family and so forth. But that's unfortunately the reality. They certainly don't mind lightening the load when it comes to the
No,
Social Security beneficiaries, right? So I'm just saying I do have a graph here that shows. And it was published. I'm trying to get to it on my Twitter page to screen share it and show you that there's a graph here that shows exactly the type of payouts based based on different companies. So here it is. This is let me screen share it since we're on this topic. And Mark, we might go a couple of minutes over. I hope that's not a
that's fine.
problem.
That's okay.
It's
We
nine
started
o'clock
on it.
right now. It's just that we did have this problem in the beginning that we weren't really able
Yeah, yeah.
to get to this. Let me see. This should be no. This isn't it. Sorry, hang on a
That
sec.
looks familiar.
That's what we were trying to do earlier. It's a shame that we weren't able to get into that. Um, close that. Okay, I just had to minimize a few things. Okay, so let's take a look at this graph because it does show, yeah, here it is. This is it here. This is from Lending Tree. I wonder if I can make this any larger so people can see it.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah, it's very clearly shows us United Healthcare as the highest claim denial rates in insurance companies per Lending Tree. Shows you, all the other ones compared to United Healthcare. From what I saw, the headline said something. There was a headline talking about um, that they just had this, I guess, record-breaking quarter profit quarter that just passed. So I guess this is and Q had always said sometime at some point they won't be able to walk down the street.
no. Well, I mean, if you're routinely taking
Yeah.
away someone's loved ones, there can be repercussions for that, and you just can't hide
hmm
behind
Yeah.
the legality of a contract when there's a fundamental sense of something being wrong. I mean,
hmm
uh, it and that in any case, be aware that if your company only offers United Healthcare, you may want to see if present this to the people who are choosing them for you. I mean, I rely on company provided insurance, and it turns out my insurer is somewhere in the middle of the pack there. So, but in any case, I would say good care of your own health. I mean, I get to the gym a couple times a week. I'm trying. We're going to put big quotes around
hmm
trying to eat less sugar because my wife Barb, who was going to be here tonight, but she had to take on. She's working a little late, and that happens. This is part of life.
Yeah.
So
I just put our BitChute link in the chat, and here's our YouTube link. It is under Food for the Soul, not Goldfish Report for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Let me just give you some more feedback too. She says, Jenny says, "Oh my goodness, that is so true. He stuck up for his best friend after being followed in the dark." And in Rhode Island, I've never asked any medium about him, so this is amazing to hear from him. It's been 16 years since he passed. Oh, Jenny, well, I hope this has brought you some comfort and reassurance. And just know your brother is just, Mark can speak to this better. On the other side, they're fine. They're doing just fine. They're not, living in that moment anymore. Although, for us in this world, unfortunately, we sometimes get stuck in those moments, and that's not a healthy thing to do, but we do, right, Mark?
Yeah, well, one thing I would say is that um, for those who don't, I mean, I have a very tragic story about how I discovered my ability, but I'd like to encourage people not to let the worst tragedies of their life define who they are. I mean, uh, you may have had this challenge and that challenge. Don't let them define you.
Hmm.
You can grow from them or see them. Okay, God, why did this happen?
Hmm.
I'm supposed to learn something here. I'm supposed to continue my personal development. So,
Yeah.
and it's easy to say that when you're not sobbing in a state of just intense loss because someone you love just didn't come home.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. So,
But the other side, though, I mean, when you listen to these, near-death experiences, it really makes you realize how real the Bible actually is, because
mhm.
we drop this body and all the teachings of Jesus. And I'm not saying this to be religious. I'm a researcher, and I have to tell you that over the past 5 years, I've been doing this 10 years now. Over the past 5 years, I have cited the Bible so more times than I have cited anything ever in my life, and even including my research work I used to do. So there's something there's more than something to it. When the book of Enoch talks about the fallen angels running this world,
Yes.
it's real. You should believe it. Because that's why they're allowed, this place is run by the underworld. That's why they're allowed to do evil here. Okay. And the reason we're here is to test us. God gave us free will. So we have the choice to join Team Satan or to join Team Jesus. And we will go different places. End times, this is going to change. We're all going to, they talk about the rapture. Not everybody gets to go. And we go to different places. We don't all go to the same place, depending on your actions, what you've done in this world. And that's the real message, is that, you know, it is real. And if you think Satan doesn't exist, well, I don't think it's going to be much longer before you realize it. But there's genocide going on this planet. And if you don't, I mean, that's got to be, human beings do not normally do this. I'm not saying
No.
human beings can't. I'm just saying that this is not in our nature. This is a nature that's been manipulated, it's been compromised, whatever, but it is free will. So that's our choice, And in terms of, you know, look, are they preparing for a fake alien invasion? Probably. But you know what? Um, as far as I'm concerned, they're demons. And that's what the Book of Enoch told us, that
Mhm.
the Nephilim spirits were going to be here. The spirits were going to remain here as evil spirits, and they were going to roam the earth. We know the prayer to Archangel Michael. I don't know if you have it handy, but it
Yes.
does.
You mean here?
Would you mind? Yeah, could you read it? Because it talks about, the devil looking to ruin souls. I mean, that's really what they're doing. Would you mind reading that?
Sure. It's a just simple little prayer card, but Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle, be our defense against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him. We humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of heavenly hosts, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who roam throughout the world, seeking the ruin of souls.
See, and it's true. It's really, You can take the religion out of it because I think the whole concept of religion, I really look at the handbook. I don't look at it in a religious sense. I look at it as a handbook of this realm. And I believe that's really what it was intended. But like I said, we didn't have a separation of church and state then. And that, was religion was used as a means of policy. It
Well,
was a means of controlling people.
now people might think, I mean, I've done paranormal investigating, and some people might say, oh, that's just frivolous silliness. People in black shirts running around in the dark making noises about stuff. But I've experienced some very dark entities. And then I've used prayer and holy water to great effect to make them back away. I
Mhm.
mean, I've had um, doors slam in my face. I've heard disembodied voices. I've
Mhm.
seen things slide across the floor. I'm telling you this, I'm sitting here and then why is it just a disgruntled spirit? No, I believe I was oppressed where
Mhm.
that's not the same as being possessed, but oppressed, where I had a terrible argument with Barbara, my wife. We, every married couple gets into fights, but this
Mhm.
was like a rip-roaring, snarling fight. Then it was like, wait,
Mhm.
wait, wait, not us. This is not how we normally operate. And if you've
Right.
heard me tell the story before here, forgive me. But to me, it made me recognize, okay, evil spirits can cause you to act, what I would say, out of character against your principles. And then actually, I read a great book, Deliver Us from Evil. This book was written by a policeman in New York who was involved in the drug, like he was a narcotics officer,
Mhm.
Ralph Sarchi. Look him up. I highly recommend him. He may be too quote unquote Catholic for some people, but you can't. I mean, some of the things that he talks about are breathtaking. And
Mhm.
what he found is that when he would go into a drug den, he would see that people are not at their best. They're incapable of defending themselves, protecting themselves, making good decisions. And so he started to see satanic symbolism and activity connected with extreme drug use. So the idea is that Satan will um, latch onto you, cause you to do bad things, cause the ruin of your soul.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And there's there's ways that we can be compromised, like through drugs and alcohol. That opens doors to the demonic realm because you abdicate your free will when you consume alcohol and drugs. It's just a fact. I mean, I'm not saying it to be judgmental. I'm just saying that it's a fact.
mhm.
Unfortunately, pharmakia, which was in the Bible, we were warned. So anyway,
And,
we
and
also
at the
have
risk,
another.
one last thing, at the risk of not being a hypocrite, I do enjoy a glass of bourbon once in a while, but I
Mhm.
don't have six. I have
Right.
one, maybe two. I don't lose control because I
Mhm.
also don't like myself if in the event that that would occur. And I haven't done that
Mhm.
decades.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you were saying, forgive
Yeah,
me,
no, we have Aryan
REM.
R yeah, Aryan Gupta. He says no, this is not live on YouTube. Because we had technical difficulties tonight, which is why we're here tonight. So we were
Mhm,
not able to go onto YouTube right now.
mhm.
But he has a question. He'd like to know if there's any messages from Spirit for him on love and finances.
Okay.
Aryan
All right.
Aryan Gupta.
Ryan, one thing, Ryan, I would be conscious of like your work situation. I don't know if you're still working, but I'm seeing that there could be kind of a negative impact early 25 for you. So if you're in a place where there's any level of instability, I would encourage you to um, see if you can't get ahead of it, stay ahead of it. It feels like it could be a bit disruptive to you because
Mhm.
I get spirit shows me a box where it's like, if you get laid off, the proverbial carrying your stuff out. Um, I can be wrong. I don't want to frighten you, but it just makes me think that you're asking about finances, and I'm seeing there could be what I would describe as an interruption, but I also feel like that you can sidestep that and by being proactive. As for love, um, I feel like that you're going in circles for some reason. I wish I had. All right, Ariane, I'm not delivering great big good news for you, but I feel like that one thing I will tell you is sometimes the best things that happen are the relationships that you avoid. Because I see you sidestepping someone coming at you, and it looks like it's not a good fit. So if you feel like I needed to move around past someone, it was in your best interest. If you, it's almost like I see you avoiding, ducking, covering, right? And then I feel like that, oh, then I see you kind of after, it feels like I want to say that the holiday, this next month or so isn't going to be great, but then I feel like I'm seeing you getting a chance to step back. And I feel like that people, someone, I see a woman coming to you and wants to talk to you, wants your advice. And it feels like that you're being in a position to answer questions is very helpful, and this woman responds to you in a big way.
Okay, there you go. There you go, Arian. I hope that works for you. Um, I guess, one of the things why Mark and I kind of have dialogue besides just taking questions from the live chat is because it's really it's important. I mean, Mark can intuit current, uh, things that are going to happen in current events and future events. Oh, he said thank you. So thank you. You're welcome. This will be This is live recorded on Facebook, my dear, and it's also going to be uploaded on our BitChute channel. And I already put the link in the chat right here, so you can take a look at that. Um, I, I think, the idea that we have to achieve this worldly success. I think that when you realize the people at the very, very top, they're they're all their God is not the same as our God, or at least
No.
me and Mark's God. So there is, in fact, Jesus said, when Satan was tempting Jesus in the desert, he not only did he say that Jesus was I'm sorry, that Satan was the prince of this world. He said he was the God of this world. And most people who refer to God refer to him and don't realize it. Our Heavenly Father is putting us in this situation in order to allow us to choose, have free will.
Mhm.
And if we choose Team Satan, uh, then that's where we go. We go with him. If we
I'll go there.
choose to do good work, if we choose to do good work, and it really is a matter of where you want your soul to go. And we all make mistakes. That's why we're here. We've all made mistakes. It's repent. That's the way to deal with that, with real true sincerity in your heart. Because, our Heavenly Father will know that, He'll know whether it's sincere and genuine and may grant you grace. So we can make mistakes here, we do have to we do have to ask for forgiveness. And not only that, we have to ask forgiveness of those who have trespassed against us. Because
Lord's Prayer. Yeah.
right? I mean, if we were to ask our Father in heaven for um for forgiveness,
Mhm.
um, what do you think the first thing is he's going to ask us? If you've forgiven those who trespass
Yeah.
against you.
Yeah.
So, and it might be hard. And I'm not saying that, forgiveness was something that I struggled with for a long time too. Just the idea of it, not forgiving anyone in particular, but just the idea, because you have to remember forgiveness is not condoning it. It's not ever saying it's okay what you did. If somebody did something to harm you or hurt you in any way, it doesn't mean it's okay. It just means you're not going to hold on to it as resentment because that's going to lower your vibration
Yes.
and that will keep you imprisoned in whatever happened. You have to let it go. That's the whole idea
Mhm.
because they made mistakes and they made maybe terrible mistakes that hurt you. Um, Physically, mentally, emotionally. Um, and they may, at some point in their life, come to realize that mistake.
Mhm.
Um, so it's kind of like it works both ways, right? We really have to be willing to forgive. If you want something from God when or our Heavenly Father, when you're praying, make sure it's something that, you're willing to give others. And because I do think this is we're here to grow and learn, right? And
Mhm.
if we want to choose Team Satan, he's going to give us that because he's going to honor our free will choice. So
Yeah.
it is about being more kind. This world needs more kindness. And that's
Amen.
how we're going to survive, or humanity is going to be wiped off this planet. We just need more kindness. Let me see if we have more questions here. You can come back to my page, Arian, and you'll see this recording. It'll still be up. You can access it right from the page. James, hi James, nice to see you. I think I remember you, James. I'm not sure. Yes, he's doing readings. He wants to know. James Merchant wants to know how his 2025 will be. What will it be like for him?
Okay.
James
We'll make this
Merchant.
the last question for the night.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I see James, I feel like that James, I get this visual. It's like you're putting a coin down. To me, it says like put money away. So it really looks like you're putting a coin down. You're putting cash aside. I would encourage you to be a little bit careful, conservative. I'm seeing you. It's funny. It's a funny visual. Like I want to put this and save this. I'm going to put this aside and this aside. It makes me think that you weather the storm. I feel like that we're going to see some erratic turbulence in our economy. And I feel like how that affects you directly is that I'm supposed to tell you to be don't 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 buy a house, not at this point. Um, Having cash on hand and then physical cash would be useful for you. Um, I also want to ask you to pay close attention to your respiratory health. Feels like that you might be prone to getting heavy chest cold. So what can you do? I would say if you can avoid being in a really crowded super spreader type environment, use like I use nose spray, like a kind of a what is it? An iodine spray. It's a very mild. Look up spray that would protect your sinuses as you get out in a crowd. Just feels like that in terms of your health the big thing that hits you is something respiratory. So everything you can do to kind of take prophylactic steps to protect yourself would be good. And it was just so funny. I'm seeing it's a symbol. Put that cash to the side, give yourself a little pad, and then you get through this. And it feels like it's more the first 6, 7 months. Feels like things get a little bit calmed down later in the year. But please don't be running at the edge of your finances, okay?
He says yes, he does have asthma. He's trying to clarify. He says, "Will there be money crisis for him?" Is that what you're saying?
I'm
Is
not
it the
saying
why you're
crisis,
putting it
I'm
away,
saying
or
just put it, protect yourself, put a little extra away. I'm calling it a pad,
Mhm.
not a fortress. Okay?
Got it?
So, if he has asthma, I totally empathize that. It just felt like it would be something extra irritating for you.
Right. I think if you have asthma, you definitely have more of a susceptibility to having
Yeah,
bronchitis and things like
yeah.
that for sure. Yeah, for sure. Let me just yeah, Beverly, hi. Yeah, Mark, my life. Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up the report now. But let me just first screen share this. This is Mark's page. If anyone's interested in having a private reading with Mark, you can go to his webpage here and you can find him. This is marknelsonmedium.com. Mark has also been featured in a New York Times story and House Beautiful regarding the paranormal work that he and his wife Barbara do. And it's quite interesting to hear them talk about this. Um, and I'll tell you, we just have to go into more detail next time,
Love
Mark,
to.
about that stuff because from what I understand, CERN is, trying to open up a portal to another dimension and bring in as many negative, Satan's end time army. I mean, basically is what they're trying to do, and that may happen not right away, but I mean, I think that's, part of that end game scenario. Hopefully we'll be raptured before then, though. And Yeah, there was one more question, but Beverly Creek. Uh,
Let's hear it. And then this
just one
will.
more. Okay. Yeah, 'cause after this, whoever's tuning in, I just want you to know we're done. We can't take any more questions. Yeah, Gay says mullein oil for the lungs, colloidal silver, and oregano oil. Oregano oil is
Yes,
phenomenal. It's
I agree.
phenomenal. Yeah.
I've used it.
Yeah. Okay, so Beverly said she's a widow, and her question was she going to be alone the rest of her life, or will she meet someone to share her life with? This is Beverly Creek.
I see Beverly. I feel like that there's another hand that comes, enters yours. I really feel like that you have to make this an effort. I want to ask you to get out, mix, be with friends. I feel like that this other person finds you when you're out walking. It feels like I see you in a sunny place. I know it's winter, bleh, but I mean, the idea is get out, walk, be with friends. I feel like that your ability to attract another loving person into your life is real. It's not something I do see that. I also feel like that this becomes because one of the attractors, we'll leave it at this, is I see you talking about issues that are important to you, and then it feels like you're being very kind and you're being considerate and helpful, and that touches people, and that gets that attracts the right kind of person into your life.
Okay, thank you for that. I think what we're going to try to do is do 50-50 next week, Mark. I should have the technical error kind of sorted
Well,
out,
let's hope so.
and
I'm
then
teasing
we
you.
yeah, and then we we can spend a little bit more time on Facebook because once I can get all the technical issues ironed out, I just know there's so many wonderful people on Facebook that absolutely just, would love to connect with you as we have seen tonight. And I know that you can't. I know that you can't see. Let me just see if I can show you. I know normally you can't see. So you can see the screen now, right? And you can see the chat. Can you see the chat on the right side?
Yes, I can decide.
Right. And so I'm just going to scroll so you can see that
Oh,
we
wow.
have, yeah, quite a lot of chatting going on in there tonight. And so it's nice. And I'm so glad, it's kind of serendipitous though. I mean, sometimes, things happen for a reason, right? And
Yeah.
so we had this technical error tonight on YouTube. By the way, our YouTube channel is not the Goldfish Report. No, we can't possibly have that. It's it's food for the soul. So I'm going, the channel is called Food for the Soul. And it's one of the segments that Goldfish Report has done for a long time. We used to do it with Dr. Scott Werner. And Scott and Mark actually used to do some work together.
Yes, we
So Mark knows Dr. Werner, or knew him, and well, still knows him. I think he still hears from him,
He
right? Have
drops
you?
in like I'm walking around and he'll drop like I'm walking to the mailbox and he's like, "Wake up! Don't just go, be alive." And I love the messages I get from them. They're very life affirming. And that I've been to his house, he's been to our house, done readings for
Yeah,
him and his family, he's
yeah.
done readings for me. I miss him. His widow Vicky is a wonderful lady. I had trouble saying widow. Jeez. But anyway,
Yeah.
they have a lovely, wonderful family, and I'm honored to be their friend.
Well, that's great. Yeah, you are a good friend to them. And we will hopefully be back next week. I really hope that, this just kind of gave me another um, opportunity to come back to Facebook. So glad to see everybody, and definitely glad to see my friend from New Zealand there, Karen. I'm so glad you're so quiet tonight. I hope you had a question, but maybe next time. It's always good to just kind of feel it out and see how it goes. But I'll tell you, Mark has been amazing tonight. He really, had been spot on with everybody's question because everyone's given us feedback to his reading, and
Well,
he's Mark is very good. Yeah. And you said, did you want to just close out real quick by telling the story of how you came about acquiring this skill?
yeah, well, I was just a kid. I'm the oldest of six. And my dad, we used to live in New Jersey, and my dad's mother had a stroke. He went in to see her while he was in the city. in Brooklyn. He walked into the wrong bar. His car broke down. He was murdered, and no one ever was brought to justice for it. We found other things out after the fact. So anyway, I lost my dad at age 11, and so I'm out in the front yard raking leaves and just trying to make believe I'm a normal kid and nothing is wrong. And then I turn around and my dad is there, and he tells me I'm okay, and you will be too. And then he reappeared again in my life and again in my life. And then I started asking him questions. He gave me useful information. I validated it. And fast forward, here I am talking to this lovely lady, okay, on YouTube or Facebook or wherever we are, BitChute. And I've been lucky and blessed to have clients around the world. I mean,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah,
Um,
we have some on, we have right now, people from all over the world here. We've got Karen, who's over in New Zealand. We've got our friend Arian, who is in the UK. And that's what that I could tell so far. I'm not sure where everyone else is from, but Facebook has definitely always been a very international community for me, for Goldfish Report, I would say. And we're
we'll be
still
back.
here, everybody. We are still here. And we aren't able to go, broadcast directly from my channel. I had to go to the personal page and then share it onto the channel. So maybe I shouldn't have said that, but I did have a way to at least share it so that more people could see it. So, oh, you're in Ontario, Canada. Great. Hey, you're going to become the 51st state pretty soon. So, welcome. Okay, so everyone, thanks so much for joining us tonight, and I'm really hoping that we're going to see you again next Friday. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. It might be the second hour, so it might not be until 8:30, but I think we are going to try to do split up our time a little bit because I do like how we had lovely people coming by, and I don't want to forget about you. I definitely don't want to exclude you. So I don't think you do either, Mark, right?
No, absolutely.
It was wonderful. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon. Be careful out there. And this concludes this edition of the Goldfish Report.
That was fun.
What? I got